What's going on, guys? It's Sean Islami. Today I have a great Escape from Falmire game in Chivalry 2 using the Messer, where we got over 80 kills and about 150 takedowns, a really dominant one. Now, better positioning has been a focus for me in my own personal gameplay, and that's kind of extended into the channel with recent videos, but sometimes it's more fun to just throw caution to the wind and die a lot, but get a lot of kills and takedowns with you. And that's how we went about this game, where we played with two members of my Discord, the Unyielding, which will be in the pinned comment. We were playing with Smile Kitchen, who popped off and has been improving every single time I play with him. He's not even level 300 yet, but finished near the top of the board. And we're also playing with Trancakes. She had 100 bomb, and she's only level 204 in this video, so really good stuff. It's always more fun to have games like this with friends. And if you're looking to get games in with me, or just meet cool, like-minded people in Chivalry 2, again, the Discord will be in the pinned comment. Now let's get into the gameplay and our usual commentary along the way and Escape from Falmire. So one of the best attacks you can do, especially in pubs, is a slash to slash mate, like right there. When you do a slash to slash, stab to stab, or overhead to overhead, when it's the same input, for whatever reason, it's a lot harder for a lot of console players to counter feint against. We're not exactly the smartest gamers, but we also play on controller, which makes it difficult as well. But nevertheless, you do want to master those feints because they are just so effective, and more importantly, learn how to defend against them as quick as you can. So a lot of you that have seen me in-game recently probably know I've been having tons of internet issues. It's mostly fixed now, but this first stage I did have a little bit of issues, so there are a few deaths that I did cut out. I just want to fully tell you that because I hate being dishonest with you guys, but when I'm rubber banding all over the place, I don't think anyone wants to watch that, especially when the video is already so long and I want to respect your guys' time. This death, that was not the case though. I just got outplayed. It's very important you kill archers no matter what. It doesn't matter if you're charging into the enemy's spawn wave and you know one's going to be coming. You have to get that archer at all costs. If there's one tip you take away from this video, take away that one. When you're in a 1vx, you only want one person being able to attack you at a time. This strategy of walking through them to make them hit stop on each other and do damage to them, each other is a good one if there's only two of them, but not when there's 3 or 4 of them. I don't know what I'm thinking here. Not a good call, and it gets me killed. So a question I did have for you guys is if you have any tips on commentary. Do I talk too much or am I talking too little? Because I did realize that a lot of the videos that I'm putting up with no commentary are actually getting a very fair amount of views. And talking over videos has always been the bread and butter of the channel, and it does still get more views than those ones. But it did get me thinking maybe if I talked less over the videos. I'm not really sure. Either way, let me know in the comments what you guys think, because this video I'm trying to take more of a back seat to the gameplay. Just let me know. I want to make the best videos possible for you guys. So any and all input is welcome. So one of the Chivalry 2 goats a while back told me about playing on mute to try and train yourself to play better, and I think part of the reason is things like right here, sound is so inconsistent. I still don't hear that battle axe guy walking behind me, even when I'm watching this back. I don't know where he was or how come I couldn't hear him, but it goes to show that the sound and footsteps by the enemies are just not really consistent enough to always be relied on. So we need to start getting the objective done. It's down at 3 minutes and we haven't broken through it. And we lead the charge and do a great job with our teammates to get through there. And this is pretty smart by this guy. He sees I'm bloody and low health, so he goes for the jab to down me. If you see someone's near deaths, like bloody, hunched over, that kind of thing, jab comes out so quick that even if it's not used for damage, it's obviously used to get your initiative back and start going back on the offense. But if someone's near death, it's a great way to down someone and finish off a fight. Not the smartest decision, but definitely the right one. We're about to go to the next stage. We hear the explosives planted, but I see an archer, and I'm going for that kill every single time. We're surrounded now. It's going to lead to a death, but 100% worth it. I think this whole objective is one of my favorite places to fight in the game. I think because there's several smaller open areas instead of one large area to do the objective, it leads to more dynamic fights and not just one big meat grinder. There's no situation you're out of place in the Messer. A group fight, a 1 versus 1, but here we're going to get outplayed by Gargamel. I hope I said that right. They've killed me quite a few times in this lobby, so shout out them for some good fights. Great kills. Something I've been trying to mix into my repertoire is using throwing axes and throwing mallets on the Vanguard more. You only get 2 of them, so I don't think that's too ridiculous. Throwing knives, you get 4, and you can be holding your weapon in the other hand. I think that's a little overpowered. I don't typically use those unless someone's running directly away from me, and even then I usually forget. But if you guys think that's a shame-worthy behavior, please let me know in the comments. I could always use education on this. So seeing these barricades set up on a bridge means I want to throw my fire pot right behind them. Bridge objectives are already so cramped and close together, and when you have a barricade set up, you know people are trying to get around them and are probably stuck there for a little bit. So it's always a good idea to throw them right directly behind an enemy's or right in front of yours. So as longtime viewers probably know, a goal for a while has been to get 100 kills, and what's pretty disappointing is this could have been the one for a few reasons, but one of them is that if this bridge objective went longer, it probably would have been a lock. I don't know why that happened. Every objective to that point was going to the last minute or so, and this one, we just steamrolled them, and it's usually one of the hardest ones to get. We got it within like 2 minutes or so. Crazy. We were even saying in the voice chat how shocking that was. So if someone's hitting you on your own team over and over again, I always try and point this out. He has default skins on. I'm bloody. It's not really a big deal if my teammate's hitting me over and over again. Don't get stressed at that. It's just a game. And he's new. You were there at 1.2. This is how you know I have tunnel vision for just kills and getting that 100 kill game, is I down my teammate in the party and just keep walking. I didn't even realize. Very dumb by me. So taking out my Messer after I throw the fire pot is the same input as declining VIP. I'm not that upset about it because my first 100 kill game I'd want to be as just a regular soldier and not get 20 kills at the end as VIP. But that being said, if I did get VIP, it would have made for a nice YouTube video because 100 kills would probably have been a lock at that point. After this death, I've decided I was wrong about throwing axes. They're terrible, and anyone who uses them should be ashamed of themselves. This is a tough look for our team because there's only a few people defending the VIP. It seemed like they didn't do the best job protecting him at the end here. That's actually pretty funny to look back at because slash spamming with the Messer will take care of that problem. This last stage, I'm trying my best to get to the VIP, and he's not really being defended too well, and I'm trying to protect him, and that's getting me killed a lot. I did want to play for the win. I know the whole thing is I'm trying to get 100 kills, but we don't want to play completely selfishly, especially at the end here. And it's going to lead to a lot of just quick and easy deaths, and we're not really going to get many kills from here on out. Phase 1, I had some internet issues. Those were cut out a lot, but it's really what led to a lot of the deaths, that and the internet in the beginning. You guys know I'm no stranger to high death games. I'm not really the best with positioning unless I'm really locking in on it. But I've always found Chivalry 2 to be a game played for the great individual moments, the movie moments we talk about with this. That's what it was made for. Our teammate is going to make the ballsy and I think right decision here to book it and go for the bow. And despite all the barricades being built there, I think it was the right decision and it pays off. And we're going to end with a monster game, 84 kills, 150 takedowns, and incredible games for our teammates as well. Cakes and Smile Kitchen did great. And let me know if you guys like the less talking in this video, if the less is more approach is good for commentary, because usually I don't shut up. This time I tried to dial it back a bit. And if you want to see a video where I died much less, went 50-1. What's going on, guys? It's Shawnee Salami. Positioning is the most important skill in all of Chivalry 2, and this Lionspire game is a great example of good positioning and why it's so important. So that'll be the focus of this video on Lionspire, where we only died one time. And that death wasn't until the very end, and it was in an infuriating fashion. Wait until you see it, it's pretty funny. All I'll say is it wasn't an archer. So as we do a great job fighting against invisible weapons, another classic torn banner bug. Sit back and enjoy this game. A lot of the commentary, like I said, will be focused on positioning and tips there, because I think this video will be a great example of how you can stay in the action, get your kills, but also keep your deaths low. And I do want to shout out before we continue Lord Rouge, who will be playing with us in this game. He is a day one just about supporter of the YouTube channel and joined the Discord as soon as we made it. The Discord will be in the pinned comment. The best thing to come out of content creation for me is the community I've built, and it's a really special place to me. We're almost at 1,000 members. I believe we're at like 910. So if you want to join, that'll be in the pinned comment, like I said. We have groups going all the time, and I play with anyone who asks. But let's get into the gameplay now, where like I said, we're going to be focusing on positioning. Now, number one, specific to Lionspire, is you really have to be careful of that catapult. Doesn't matter if an enemy's on it or an ally. Now, what I like to do is, if I'm still alive, haven't died yet, and want to keep that 0 there, I'm going to move ahead of the people pushing the battering ram, because I'm valuable as a fighter. But even if you're still learning the game, there are ways you can be helping the objective even if you're not directly on it. It's a common misconception that you have to be dying on the objective constantly all the time. It's just not the case. I've learned this through doing competitive play, which we'll have more videos on, that there are so many ways you can help the team other than just dying on the objective and respawning and dying on the objective over and over again. I can do a longer video on that if you guys are interested, explaining my thoughts on doing the objective. But what I've come to realize over time is just the team with the better players is going to win most of the time. So something that is more important than positioning is getting rid of the stat patterns that just always have to be on the catapult. Get 50 kills and then screenshot it, put it all over the discords like they actually did something and didn't just press a button and kill people from miles away. So we're going to make sure we get some damage on that and get a kill before we back up and let our teammates finish the job. So this is a problem we see right away in archers on the catapult. They all share a single brain cell. So I am not going near the battering ram until he's either dead or it really comes to desperation time. Archers love hitting us in the back with their arrows, but they're even worse when they hog a catapult and an archer spot for everyone else. It really does speak to their selfish mentality when they use things that have limited usage like ballistas and catapults. They're taking up an archer slot, which are already limited, and not even using their ranged weapon or bows, and using a ballista or catapult that any class can use. Again, this is a good thing. We don't want more archers running around, but it does speak to their selfish mentality. Something I did want to ask you guys, if you are interested in the return of live commentary to the channel, because I do have a harder time talking and playing at the same time and getting you quality gameplay, but it is easier to make, so it is something I can revisit. I also was wondering about no commentary gameplay. I was even thinking about uploading this without commentary. For me personally, as a viewer of content, I don't think it would be very exciting to watch something with no commentary. But I know that there's a market for it. There are videos up of games that just don't have any talking in it that get plenty of views. If I have a crazy game like this, or I do have the highest kill game ever on the channel coming up soon, that'll probably be the next video. It may be something I put up without commentary as well as having commentary. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing here. Let me know in the comments. I also put up a community poll as well, asking people's thoughts on that. Now this is pretty funny. We're going to hear the ballista bolt go right by us. So something to keep in mind is, for a lot of people, especially if you're doing this on Vanguard where it's much easier to get killed, you're going to have some luck involved in going deathless. There are players that go deathless pretty frequently, but all in all, it's something that you will need luck involved for. You don't have to know rocket appliances to know that 64 players leads to a lot of chaos. You'll need some plot armor along the way. It may look like my first thought is that I'm heading towards the town square, but I actually plan on heading right to support my teammates there. But the only reason I started heading in this direction anyway is because my teammates started flooding out and had finished that fight already. What I'm doing here is just being reckless and dumb. This is just something you don't want to be doing if you're trying to position intelligently, but old habits die hard. I'm just going to let my inner berserker out. So during this 2 versus 1, I have an internal clock going in my head. If I don't finish this within a few seconds, I need to start backing up because my teammates are going to come. And if I don't back up, their teammates' spawn wave is going to come help them. That's something that just comes with time of knowing the maps and knowing how spawn waves work. But you should be having it in your head that if this fight is going on too long, it's time to reevaluate what you're doing, because you don't want to be locked in the 1 versus 1 or 1 versus 2 or 3 for that amount of time without any kind of escape plan. And now we see we have a flag here. It's always good to know where these are so you can just fight around them or even just run in circles around it to keep moving and not get shot by a vulture archer. But in this case, my team does need a lot of support trying to capture the town square. While I do back up to bandage a little bit, I want to get right back in the action because they're having some trouble right now. The overheads on the greatsword just hit different. I don't know why I have such a skill issue with greatsword on the knight versus being really good with the same exact weapon on Vanguard, and that being one of my top loadouts. I have no idea what the skill issue is there. Let me know if you have any weird quirks with your playstyle where that happens, because I think Chivalry 2 is really fascinating in that sense, that there's just so many different ways to approach different weapons, different playstyles, that it gives you a real sense of identity. Like, there's certain players I know who I'm fighting before I even know the name if they've been around long enough. It goes to show that melee slashers are just an untapped market right now. I just hope something with a big budget like Call of Duty eventually gets made in this style. I've always found Lionspire to be one of the easiest maps to go deathless on, as long as you can get past the catapults in stage 1. It's pretty straightforward from then on. I think people see bridges as a death trap where it's very easy to get killed, but I think fire pots are the biggest problem. On bridge objectives like this, it's also a good rule of thumb in general. You want to be on the outside of every engagement and then kind of encircle the players that you're fighting. Another tip I have for you is to not beat the absolute fuck out of your teammates over and over again and nearly get kicked for team damage like I do here. So as I said, I am going to die once in an infuriating fashion, but it won't be right there, but it just about is. Lord Rouge nearly kicks us into the spike traps, almost caught in 4K doing that. I don't know, looked pretty intentional to me. This guy is beating me up, but we luckily have the Fire Chicken squad come in. Now, these guys are going to show up for the rest of the match, just walking around with fire chickens and jabbing people to death. It's pretty toxic when someone does this, but for whatever reason, when it's multiple people, it just became funny to me, and they're going to come in and do this the rest of the match. It's one of those funny Chivalry 2 moments, the Monty Python humor. I don't know how they come up with this stuff. So this poor default footman probably just installed the game and he's getting jabbed to death by fire chickens. I can't believe this game sometimes. Check this out right here. Overhead to overhead feints on slow weapons seem to catch experienced players off guard a lot. A newer player that has a fast weapon like a one-hander or a longsword will probably gamble and just excel through it. So an experienced player that respects someone's initiative and knows the mechanics of the game will actually be killed a lot more by that than a newer player will. Now this was pretty infuriating. I'm going to be assassinated, just flat out. This is targeted because look what this guy's going to do. Throw his weapon at me, then he's going to try and throw another weapon at me. And now he only has a hatchet. He hits me with it, actually, and he's going to throw it again. Now my teammates run in, but he's more focused on killing me. So for a good 10 seconds, I was pretty furious about that because I thought I had the Deathless Run secured. But in the end, it's pretty funny. On second look, it was the guy I killed just before with the greatsword overhead to overhead feint. So he took that personally and wanted to get that kill in on me, and I respect it. At the end of the day, it's just a game. Can't get too high or too low. I have been guilty of taking this a little too seriously for stretches, and if it was one of those, I probably wouldn't have an Xbox anymore and throwing it through my window because Now someone actually gets the defuse at the very end here. Credit to this team for not quitting, because once the Fire Chicken squad rolled up, it did start to become a bit of a steamroll, but there's no quitting them. You gotta love it. So in the end, we did win, and we went 50-1 as advertised. Not the sweatiest lobby, but if you do want to see a sweaty lobby, this match is a straight-up war crime. What's going on, guys? It's Shawnee Salami, and in today's Chivalry 2 video, we have the most ridiculous game we've had on the channel yet. We'll be defending on the Siege of Rudhelm using the Raider class. This is maybe the most fun loadout in the game. There's a reason so many people run it. If you didn't know, the Danax gets bonus throw damage, so you throw that. And then you have a second primary where you should definitely be taking the Messer, which is, in my opinion, the best weapon in the game. And then you have the Warhorn, the best class ability in the game. Now, the weakness of Vanguard is, of course, you get less health, but you do get more stamina and movement speed than the other classes. I can definitely do a more in-depth video on the Raider subclass in the future, but this video is more about the war crime that was committed by me, Crowbar, and K-Money, who are in the Discord. Join that in the pinned comment if you'd like to get some games in. But I really underestimated these guys. This was my first day playing with K-Money, a former viewer and now friend, and Crowbar doesn't really play this game. He's mostly just trolling people. So once all three of us logged in, it got pretty unfair for the other team, but we are on defense, so I think this is a cool video for you guys to see how Raider can be played at a high level, even if it's not necessarily the sweatiest lobby by any means. But I haven't really been able to upload much because of bad internet, so I know a lot of you guys do like these insane high kill games, so sit back and enjoy as we defend Rudhelm and go on a rampage. Now, the first objective is a lot of just picking people off with wide open space. You have the quick movement speed of the Vanguard, so I'm going to be moving around a lot and getting flanks in, special attacking people from behind, leaping strike, the whole 9 yards with Vanguard. So this is Mo Evil. He's an awesome guy in Equilibrium. Very cool guy. One of the nicest people in the game. And we see that he's up against us and his team is not the best. So we're going to just let him go on his way. There's no reason to make his life more difficult when there's two of us and only one of him. So again, this is how you want to be playing Vanguard in an open area like this where there's a lot of wide open spaces. Pick off stragglers. You have that extra movement speed and stamina to hit people from behind and just keep it moving, but you'll never guess what happens next. So like I said, what's nice about Rudhelm is that that first stage here is so wide open. I can really showcase how well that movement speed works to pick off stragglers, special attack people from behind, get some flanks in. But from here on out, it's very close quarters, and you can see that how dangerous the Messer can be and how much that extra stamina can let you faint and get away with a lot more than you can on Knight. Dodges become a part of your repertoire. It's just such a fun class. Me and Crowbar are out here because we kind of just want this game to keep going. I'm going to be honest. I'm on pace for maybe a record-breaking game in the Chiv history books, and we're not really in any rush to end this. We want the game to keep going. Now, that's up to the other team at this point. We're just getting so many kills between the two of us when we're up on the objective that they're having a hard time even getting inside. Now, I always try and remind people that we treat all people with respect on this channel, but archers are not people. So after we kill him, he's going to get a nice teabag. And now we're going to get in the fight of our life to close this one out. So while we go to this last fight that you're going to see just an insane 1vx, I do want to let you guys know that my internet should be fixed this week and I'll have more videos uploaded soon. I did think this one was worth putting out regardless, despite it not being a full game. And if you made it this far while watching, today's sentence to let me know you made it this far in the video and to confuse people in the comments is Down East Rockstar absolutely deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And check out this fight. This is crazy. I can't believe how many people I killed here. Billy Witch Doctor comes to the rescue, and we have even more people we have to kill. And it's this rampage. Like, I can't believe how many kills I got in this. I wish it kept going. Unfortunately, it didn't. And as we seal the win, I love you guys so much. The video did end early, so I can clip that last part for a YouTube short, but I love you guys. I'll see you. If you're the kind of Chivalry 2 player that plays for the win first and foremost and is always on the objective, you'll like this video because this was all about playing for the W. What's going on, guys? It's Shawnee Salami, and today we switched to defense to help this outman and outgun team on Lionspire, and we got punished for it. The first half of this video, I am making a ton of mistakes and getting extremely frustrated because my team does not have the killing power to keep up with the other team. But in the second half, just like Helm's Deep, when Gandalf comes from the mountainside, we're going to get help from another top player and good friend, MF Tiny Rick, one of the most underrated players going right now, and it's going to change the tide of the battle. And this is going to be a bit of a throwback video when I used to die on the objective over and over again for the team. We're going to be doing that in this one because I wanted to win for this group because they were really giving their all, even if they didn't have the power to match up with the other team. So sit back and relax and see if me and Tiny Rick can get this win defending Lionspire once he joins, with our usual narration, tips, and funny moments along the way. Let's get into it. So while we're heading to our next fight, I do want to shout out the people we're playing with. They're on attack because I did switch to defense to help out. But Lord Rouge, he's a day one supporter of the channel, and we're also playing with Muted. If you want to join the Discord, it'll be in the pinned comment. We recently did a duel tournament. It was a lot of fun. We had some top players, Llama and Ryan, the Poleaxe, battling it out. Always fun stuff in there. It's not really the smartest people in the world, but they are funny. You'll laugh a lot. So yeah, check that out in the pinned comment if you want to get some games in with me or like-minded people. I just accept my fate here because I have my arm cut off. I'm not going to try and run away. Just give the guys the XP and respawn. So something I pride myself on is being honest with you guys, and this one really sucks to show because I don't usually do stuff like this. Someone vote kicked a low-level player, and this guy has killed me on the catapult before, which is not a reason to vote kick him back, especially when he hasn't been on it at all in this game. So I recognize the name. I'm mad. I'm in a bad state of mind just assuming he's trolling that guy. That's not okay. I know I've talked about having issues with anger, but that is no excuse. I really do apologize. If he is by any chance seeing this, I do apologize for that. That was very dumb of me. Rightfully does not pass at all. A bunch of people vote no, and I get killed by a ballista and punished for my sins. And then die to a catapult right after that. After a quick respawn, we're going right back into the action, just rushing into the dumbest meat grinder possible, fighting for our life and survive just to be killed by a ballista. Just unbelievable stuff. Clearly the frustration is mounting because you're going to see a bit of a nightmare sequence here. I do get a few kills, but I'm just going to start swinging for the fences, which is not smart when you have teammates around you and a high damaging weapon like the Messer. Lord Rouge really likes kicks. He's going for a few of them there, but we're able to take him down and then down a second teammate. Unbelievable. I really am just not feeling myself right now. This is why default skin is so dangerous, because they'll do the dumbest things possible that make them unpredictable. So no offense to him, I think he's just goofing off having fun, but I would have never in a million years expected him to throw his second weapon after throwing his main weapon. Pretty funny stuff. Good kill. Just as I'm feeling I'm starting to get into a groove, I get crushed into the crust of the earth by a catapult and then get an endless respawn timer as well. I swear to God, I can never stand under traps for more than a second without being killed. I know, skill issue, don't do it, but it will never not make me mad, and that's exactly how I play this next life, just rushing in like an idiot. Seriously, the first half of this game, you could clearly see that I'm just fighting for my life here. It's a lot of bad luck, but it's also just mistakes as well, and frustration is playing a huge part in it. But now, pretty soon, we're going to start to turn it around and settle things in. I've talked about this before. If you're getting frustrated, it's better to just either leave the game, don't keep playing if you're mad, first of all, but second of all, just lock in, calm down, and settle it down. I never troll people for team damage, but he does it with a projectile instead of with a melee weapon, so I do thank him for assisting me with his teammate that was a much bigger threat. Again, a bit of a troll move, but he did that to himself. So now, at long last, the cavalry has arrived. We have Thayic in the game, and he is a top player in this game. I really don't think he's far off from even the top players in the game. And sometimes all you need is two good players to win a TO game in matchmaking. So between him and me, we're going to try and win for these lower level players. Let's see if we can get it done. This is a pretty hilarious sequence where I feel like I'm walking on a tightrope over a pit of snakes. I start to head back to heal because I'm low health, but then check this out. There's barricades and spike traps. There's nowhere to go. Someone throws a fire pot, and then I start getting PTSD flashbacks to being screamed at by my World of Warcraft guild of grown-ass men when I was 10 years old, and I'm able to escape it using those same skills to not step in the fire. Pretty funny. I was near certain death, but then I charged right back in. So this is pretty funny to look back at because I didn't realize in real time just how great the engineers were doing on the bridge phase. I think that's a big reason the game started to turn in our favor as well, because they did such a phenomenal job defending on the bridge now. So because they were able to get the first few objectives so quickly, as we get a nice flank here, they have a lot of time to do the rest of the objectives, and they just have so much time banked essentially from getting them done quickly in the beginning. We held them for a long time at the gates, but they have now 6 entire minutes to get the trebuchets, and that's before exploding any of them. So this is going to be tough sledding now. And real quick, I do want to shout out Muted for killing me there. I promised him I would, because he dropped down from the banners, I believe, and swung into my head as he did that. Pretty funny. I don't know how he did that exactly. We got to see his POV. Now, as I said, we're locked in, and we're going to go after this archer, because, of course, he's going to try and put a spike trap down and clip farm me, but Lord Rouge is going to step in. I hope to God he didn't know he was defending an archer. We may have to wall of shame in the Discord. Now, the only thing more important than the objective is helping your boy. So I see Tiny Rick is in trouble. I have to get in there and back up my guy. He somehow was able to survive all that. Pretty impressive. I did a double take because I thought about heading towards the trebuchet, but you can't leave your guy hanging. If you made it this far into the video, please comment, why does Joey Crowbars keep aura farming Tenosia? Just to confuse people in the comments and let me know you made it this far. Now we have one trebuchet left and it's 2 minutes, which, considering that we had to defend this last part in the gate phase for so long, playing from behind after giving up the first few objectives so quickly, that is pretty great. Let's see if we can hold this last objective. I'll let the game breathe for a little while you see if we can finish this off. so close, guys. We almost pulled off an insane comeback. It would have been awesome, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. Now let me know in the comments if you liked a more interesting storyline kind of video where something cool happened than a dominant stat line, because this is one of the worst games I've had performance-wise on the channel, but I thought it made for more interesting content when there was like something going on in the game that made it more exciting. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe to the channel for future content. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Chivalry 2 has a small player base, but somehow that makes the game way more fun. What's going on, guys? It's Sean and Salami, and a frequent question that comes up with Chivalry 2 from people who haven't played it is questions about how active the game is. Now, I wanted to talk about why I think the game being so small is such a good thing, but if you are looking for the answer to that question, the short answer to that question is it's as alive as ever, and you will always have a full game no matter what time of day, even at the most dead times like 3 a.m. for example. Now, the player base is small, but because there's always active games going, Chivalry 2 finds itself in a unique spot where when you check the scoreboard when you first get into a game, if you do a quick scan, there's going to be a few names that you recognize if you've played long enough. And in this match, I'll give some examples of that. But keep in mind, I have no access to chat on console. I've never talked to some of these people, but I still emote with them when I see them, based on mutual respect we've had from fights over the years, and also just funny moments where we're not even playing the game and just having dance parties or someone's playing a harp in the background. And if you're not interested in making friends, the coolest thing maybe about this is that Chivalry 2 lets you live out a fantasy of like carving out a legacy as a famous Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings warrior. I remember when I wasn't even involved in the community, had no access to chat, people still knew who I was. Once I joined the Discords and streams and stuff and started getting to know these people, they already knew who I was. And I'm not the world's greatest player. I'm good, but it's just having a recognizable name, doing solid in TO games. So overall, I think Chivalry 2 is in an amazing spot, even if you're not interested in getting into the community. And if you are, definitely check out my Discord. It'll be in the pinned comment. It's the coolest thing to come out of content creation. It's like a bridge for new players to join and get involved in other communities in the game if you're trying to get into clans, whatnot. My Discord is the best place to start. It's been so cool to see it grow. But now let's get into the gameplay, where I've decided I'm going to start shouting people out that I get along with or that have cool moments, as long as it's positive, no witch hunting, nothing negative like that. What inspired the video was that we're going to be in a game with a pretty famous warrior that's not in any of the Discords I've never talked to. Bald female. An absolute monster on the battlefield. Me and him carried this game so hard. We were finishing so significantly ahead of the rest of the team, and it felt like we were a two-man army, similar to the video I just did with Tiny Rick the other day. But Bald Female is one of my favorite people to run into in this game. We're always emoting at each other when we see each other, and it was cool to get this game in with them despite never talking. And on the other side, there's going to be someone I point out throughout the game that is an absolute monster and pretty much always kills me when I run into them, that I'd also like to shout out later. So sit back and enjoy as we get into our usual narrated gameplay, funny moments, the whole 9 yards, as we defend Thayic Stronghold using the longsword. Now, this is something that was a little brutal in this game. I don't really care about team damage unless it's a projectile, but I got downed a lot by teammates. I lost track of how many times. It was a little crazy. Now, a lot of the times it was my fault because I'm running into these situations where I'm low health. And it's no hate to anyone, but I'd be curious to see how many times you guys can count this happening where I just get downed by teammates. Like I said, this defense squad was mostly made up of new players, so no hate or anything. Now, the Messer was swinging nicely, so we're going to go back to that weapon after our next life with the longsword. We're going to decide to go back to it, but this is the player I want to shout out, Destroyers. He is a beast. He kills me almost every time. He's always in the thick of the action. Another player I love running into. So the longsword is my most reliable weapon. It's something I use whenever I gotta get back to basics and get my game under control after I play bad. But the Messer overall is my best weapon. I do much better with that than anything else, pretty much by far. So even if you don't see me use it the most, it's definitely my best weapon. But if I really want to do well for this team, I figured I should use my better weapon, because I did get off to a slow start. Check this out. He's going to go for a special attack with the Morningstar, and I'm already in my animation, so I can't hold up block. So I managed to sidestep it. It's pretty satisfying to look back at. Smooth by me, huh? Really frustrating is we're going back to get a bandage and we just get killed by a catapult, and it's pretty funny, we land directly at the guy who killed us. He's going to block our throwing axe, and this irritated me because he also killed me earlier, and I took it a little personal. So he's gonna fall off the side here, and I'm gonna just chase after him. Not the brightest thing to do, especially with how I'm playing it. You want to be crouching against a one-hander to keep your distance, but we managed to kill him regardless and laugh right back at him. This is not smart. I can never stay locked in for a full game. I get at least a few autopilot moments like this a game. And now we're in a 2v1, and the guy I mentioned earlier, Destroyers, is one of them. He is not going to let me survive this. No chance. Usually when you win a 1vx, it's because the players aren't good, and we get punished for our mistake here. Now this is maybe the most intense sequence in the match until the ending, and we're going to get into a big time outnumbered team fight. They have so many enemies, but we hold our own alongside Bald Female and a few others. Pretty funny because I thought we had a lot of teammates backing us up, but I guess they went the other way to defend the banners. I did clip that for a YouTube short, so we're going to have the video cut out for a minute. I do apologize about that. I thought I would be able to clip it and keep the gameplay rolling. I'm going to die while I do that, and it's going to pick up while we're heading back to the banners. In case you didn't know, you always want to take the forward spawn. Almost every single time you should just take it. I don't know why I didn't there. It was like a little bit of a mental lapse. I talked in the beginning about getting downed by teammates a lot. It didn't really happen in the first half of the video, but it's going to start happening a lot now. Again, no hate. Now, as we gear up for the last objective to try and take home the win with Bald Female getting the VIP, because the whole theme of this video is the community aspect, I'm not going to do a silly comment for shout-outs, but I do want to shout out one person that has become one of my closest friends, internet or otherwise, and that's Seasick Khan. He is the most supportive guy in the entire world and a true friend. Sorry about the glazing for people that don't know, but the whole community aspect of this video, I do think it's worth pointing out because he is as loyal as any real-life friend I've ever made. Now, this is my favorite objective in the entire game. I absolutely love this stage. so I'm going to let this breathe a little bit. But before I do, I would like to request a like for the video if you're enjoying it. It helps out smaller YouTubers like me a lot, and if you do want to see future Chivalry 2 content like this, definitely give me a subscribe. You can always take it back later if my videos are trashed, but let's see if we can bring home this win. So how about that? Great win. And if you do want to get deeper into the community than just the emoting in games that I talked about, definitely check out the Discord. It'll be in the pinned comment. I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. In Chivalry 2, for one-handed weapons, there's the Warhammer, and then there's everything else. What's going on, guys? It's Shawnee Salami, and today we're using the Warhammer on the Fall of Lionspire, and this weapon is absolutely insane. I really have been sleeping on it for a long time because I don't use one-handers in general, but it is a phenomenal weapon. So the Warhammer is a great weapon for its damage first and foremost. It does great damage on every class, but this thing annihilates knights. So if you weren't aware, it does blunt damage much like the heavy mace or two-handed hammer, and what that means is it gets 50% more damage to knights and 25% more damage to footmen, and the knight is the most popular class in Chivalry 2, so you will be noticing it a lot. Now, the downside to this is that it will hit stop on enemies. So what that means is if you attack one enemy and there's another one right next to him, it doesn't cleave through them. It does if you do a heavy attack, but on the Warhammer, we're going to try and avoid that because it has such short range that we don't really want to be just heavy swinging through countless enemies. We want to be picking and choosing our engagements wisely. But I was really happy you guys requested this weapon. It was a ton of fun to use. So if I were to do a tier list of weapons that wasn't satire like the video I made, I think this would easily be S tier in my opinion, and if it were just one-handers separately, it's in a class of its own. I don't think any other one-hander comes close, at least from what I've used. So let's get into our usual gameplay with tips and narration along the way, funny moments, you know the whole thing, and we'll be having a focus on the Warhammer and the Guardian Knight class in general because I haven't done many videos with this one. Let's get into it. So to start off the game, I went with the heavy shield. I tried this and the light shield, If you didn't know, shields in Chivalry 2 give you more stamina by reducing the amount of stamina you lose when holding block or blocking an attack. I had trouble finding the exact amounts that it gives, but essentially the heavy shield gives you the most stamina, and the light shield gives you the least, and the medium shield is obviously in between. The light shield will give you 20 damage on jabs, which is twice as much, and it really adds up, especially because you can land jabs very easily in this game. They're so fast, and you get more damage from throwing your shield. Now, I throw my shield a lot, because I just don't like the look of having a shield, so for me, that's what worked the best. But I think for most players, if you're using the Guardian class, you want to be having the benefit of a heavy shield. So I do think that was the best for most people, but I was just messing around with different ones because I don't typically use the class. Now, after spending time with this weapon, I have to say there are not many attacks that feel as satisfying as the overheads on the Warhammer. I try to use overheads a lot on every weapon in general, but I knew that this is a weapon in particular I'd want to use them a lot because I'm a knight main, so fighting against this weapon, I know how deadly they can be. Furious in my Discord, which is in the pinned comment if you want to get some games in, actually had an interesting point where he compared the Warhammer overheads to the Greatsword overheads. Now, I think the Greatsword has some of the best overheads in the entire game, and he was comparing the Warhammer to it, saying it feels like a one-handed greatsword in that sense. Pretty interesting. I thought it was a very insightful comment, and I could definitely see what he means after using both weapons for a while. So always make sure you laugh at archers when they do their pathetic just nonsense. He's trying to shoot me from behind his teammates a mile away, and it makes it even easier to walk away when I have this giant shield on my back. You're going to see me use the special attack on this a lot. It is just so good. It comes out very quickly, and even if you're fighting someone head on, it can kind of look like an overhead, so they go for a counter and it still hits them. As we save this guy here, he's a little surrounded. It's definitely another thing you want to just mix into your arsenal is using the special attack on weapons in general, but this one especially has a strong one. This is a beautiful drag that the person with the executioner axe used. I was very fortunate to survive there because I was in big time trouble. I think he would have killed me if I didn't get back up, but that was a textbook what you want to do with the executioner axe.
Your meat is on me.
Now, I do have to admit, I'm playing extremely soft, so I start to get impatient because I'm getting a little frustrated even watching back. Using an unfamiliar weapon that also has a different playstyle was making me play a little too cautious. I'm starting to get frustrated with how much I've been out of the action in this one, and I start to force a little bit, and as soon as I do, I get killed. So now we're going to get in an awkward period where I'm going to heal, but I'm also on the outskirts a little bit. Again, this video is kind of interesting, I think, because you can kind of see me trying to figure out how to play the weapon as the video unfolds. I didn't go into it with a predetermined way of knowing how I want to play or just going on instincts. So usually I'd be right in the middle of the town square, just swinging a greatsword or use my longsword in between teammates. But this was a little more, I don't want to use the word frustrating because it was fun to figure out. But I do think stretches like this few minutes right here, you can see the unfamiliarness I have with the weapon really making me play very awkward. Not really sure what to do. And also the different range of the weapon is making me just swing wildly at nothing or miss enemies and teammates. But that's part of the fun of these kind of videos where we're trying something new, I suppose. So because I don't use one-handers as much, I'm struggling to figure out how I should play this on the bridge because these meat grinder objectives are not made for one-handers. And what I definitely don't want to do is rush up like that to the very front and just rush in by myself. Not a good idea, and I die immediately, as you probably expect. So the sustained healing of the banner is so important for objectives like this when everyone's grouped up. But the weapons that you get in return are not that great. So I think if I were to really be min-maxing and not showcasing a weapon, I probably would have just placed the banner and switched to the greatsword or war axe, something like that, that sweeps really wide. Because this is just awkward. This was the hardest part of the game for me, and it was really tough to figure out what to do exactly. So if you're trying to min-max and play to your best in every possible situation, that's what I would do there. So something I did want to ask long-time viewers of the channel is if this video sounds better than other videos on the channel, because Swagmar, the biggest content creator for Chivalry 2 going, we've been friends since before either of us made videos, and he is the nicest person and best person ever. Seriously, it's not just because he makes videos I'm saying this. He hooked me up with Premiere Pro, and that is a very good editing software, and I tried it for this one. I think the picture looks about the same, but because it's from the Xbox, but I think something I did with the sound sounds a lot better. So just let me know in the comments if you can.
This archer earned himself a few whacks. If you're new to the channel, I always point this out. We're nice to everyone except archers. If that guy kills me, so be it. I don't care. It's just a game. I'll respawn. But the archer trying to steal the kill and act like he was the hero and save me is pretty annoying. "64-player lobbies definitely make games very chaotic, but here I am just on a death streak because I'm not playing to my weapon strengths or my loadout strength. Anytime you die in this game, you have to accept that it's your fault. There's definitely random things like arrows flying through the air or just dying to a catapult that are out of your control. But a lot of times, it's on you that you died. So I just want to point that out because I'm looking back at this. It's a little frustrating to see that I'm on a death streak, but it's definitely all things that I could have fixed. So I think people get too quick to blame their teammates or blame the enemy's loadout, but you could always be playing better at the end of the day. Just take accountability. It is just a game, but you want to improve and you're watching this video, that's the number one tip I can give you to take away from this. I'm assuming it's my internet, but I did not expect this golden dag overhead to come out so quickly right here. He was destroying me though, so it was probably just a skill issue. He made a few appearances in this one that I didn't point out, but the Invisible Man has reared his ugly head. We're going to be swinging for the fences at him, and after we kill him and a few other people, we light the explosives. This is a pretty good duel against the guy with the Executioner Axe, and this is why that light shield jab is so good, because he would have definitely survived that if it wasn't for the extra damage on the light shield jab. You get 10 extra, as I said earlier, and jabs are always a good way to finish a fight because they're almost unreactable how quick they come out if someone's close enough. So that light shield jab damage is such a weapon that you can definitely take advantage of a lot. Now, I talked earlier about not forcing it of using such a short-range weapon, but here I have to start getting in the mix and forcing it because if I want to win for this team, I'm going to have to be the one to light the explosives or at least be the person pushing it with them. So this is risky. If you're playing for your stats, definitely don't do this, but I want to win for this team, so we're going to give our all. Unfortunately, we are not able to get it done on the way back. Our team did a pretty good job. I feel like I let them down a little bit. I feel like we've gotten a few Lionspires out recently on attacking, so it's video I'll try and defend and definitely do a different map. And if you did like the video, consider giving it a like or a subscribe for future content.
Last year or so. What's going on, guys? It's Sean Islami. Today we're going to be using the Heavy Mace attacking Darkforest. The Heavy Mace is a top 5 weapon in this game for pub stomping, in my opinion. I've always been partial to the two-handed hammer just because it has cooler skins and plays very similar. But if you're going for purely the better weapon, I think it's been a long time that I've underrated how much of a difference those things that the Heavy Mace does better, how much of a difference they make. So in Chivalry 2, when you hold block, you'll be losing stamina, and that's something that does happen a lot. And when you use the Heavy Mace, you're going to be losing it at a 10% slower rate than you would with the two-handed hammer or other weapons. It's a very rare perk that only a few weapons get, the quarterstaff and poleaxe being the other. And now here's what I really underrated about the Heavy Mace is its drags. I don't think people understand how good the drags are on the Heavy Mace. You'll see it a lot in duels if you do those, or if you play competitive play, that's where it really comes into play. But in a pub lobby like this, I don't think the player base understands just how deadly it is. It's almost as good as the Executioner Axe drag or Maul drag. Those are the two that still throw me off the most. And when you use the Heavy Mace, you're getting almost as good a drag with a much more well-rounded weapon. It's a monster. Now, as we get off to a terrible start in this game, in case you didn't know about blunt weapons in Chivalry 2, things like the Warhammer, Heavy Mace, two-handed hammer, you get hit stop. And what that means is if you hit someone, the weapon stops on contact and you can't swing through people unless you do a heavy swing. And that's how I like to play the Heavy Mace, is to go into crowds, look for someone to feed me a counter, and heavy swing through knights like crazy. And to counteract that downside, what the blunt weapons get as an advantage is they do 50% more damage to knights. They are devastating to knights. They also get bonus damage to footmen, but I would guess about 2/3 of every lobby is knights because it's just the most popular class. So you won't even notice that reduced damage too much unless there's a lot of vanguards, which isn't the most common in a pub. And before we get into our usual narrated gameplay, funny moments and the like throughout the video, I did want to give you guys an update on some videos that are getting done, because quite honestly, I have been a little lazy just doing these narrated games, which is the bread and butter of the channel. But the Player Spotlight series will be returning. It's going to be a little different and higher effort than it was before because I think I can do it a little differently. What I'll be doing is showing players gameplay, famous players throughout the community of Chivalry 2 and some of the legends of the game, and I'll be rating them on skills out of certain numbers, what I'm still figuring out right now, and you'll get to see what these players are about, a lot of the ones that you run into in these lobbies. And good news is, so far I have the 2 best pub stompers in all of Chivalry 2 to agree to do it so far. Four Eyes Nerd Version, if you've seen him in game, and Aragi Karan, who for my money is the best player in the game, and he just did a tier list video for all the weapons in Chivalry 2. That'll be in the description for you to check out. And if you want to get some games in, I've been playing with you guys nonstop in the Discord. That'll be in the pinned comment. Now, that's enough of me yapping. Let's get into the gameplay. So, as I said, I did get off to a terrible start, but I'll leave you guys to see how many kills we got by the end of this. I've been having issues with my internet. I haven't been able to record. I actually had my highest kill game with the Heavy Mace the other day. It was 93 kills. I came so close to getting 100, but this one won't be quite that many, but it was a really dominant game. I think the Heavy Mace is extremely similar to the Messer in that it has no real weakness and is just so well rounded and rewards highly skilled players. So now we're going to get into a duel with their best player on level 1000 Ambusher. Ambushers are very tough to fight, and this is an underrated strategy you can do against a one-hander, is take out your own, just because it can be so difficult to fight them with a slower two-hander, and especially if they're aggressive in your face, just like Kors was here. I don't know him personally, but he did thank me for the command after a good fight, so shout out him. Here I get some main character syndrome, thinking I'm going to swing through a bunch of knights, and we're going to take a tumble down here. A little bit of a tough look. Now we're going to get into a fight against a battle axe, which is always tough to fight one-on-one. Get some backup and get a nice overhead there. Once again, I can't stress enough that the heavy mace doesn't really have any bad attack. It excels, it drags, and when you use an overhead or a slash, it just doesn't matter. The biggest weakness is the stab, but even then, it's not really a bad attack. There's just nothing it does poorly. Very solid fight here. There's quite a few of these in this game, but this is the problem when you get an extended 1v1 too deep in enemy territory. Eventually, they're gonna get back up. You don't want to get into a 1v1 too long like that. If you want to do it, go to a dual server. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but we lost quite a few players in the game. It won't last long though, but right now it's about a 22 versus 21, I believe it said. Don't worry though, it'll fill up. So check this out here. If you use slash or overhead and then combo into a heavy stab, it works with a lot of weapons, but heavy mace is once again good at that. You can really disguise it well, and it looks like you're holding it to an inexperienced player. It's really good at tricking people once you combo into it. You got to do it right away. It hits very consistently. So the funny thing at this point is that there's a few top players in this game that since everybody dropped, we are feasting on a really inexperienced lobby for a few minutes. But right now it's going to fill up and a bunch of people are going to join. Something I didn't mention earlier, though, is that I think the pub stomping does get a little old in these videos. We're going to laugh at this archer because he's backing up behind his teammates and they leave him to die. But I did join a clan. There's going to be some competitive videos coming up, competitive play. So that's something I'm going to put... That's something I've put in the community post, but in case you missed it, that will be upcoming once my internet's figured out. I've done a few matches with not so great internet, and we didn't play too well either, which I don't mind because, you know, I'm new to competitive play, but this channel will always be for the casuals. So once my internet is figured out, we're going to get some of those games on here. You guys can take a look at what that's like. Even if it won't be the focus, I do think a lot of people would be interested to see it. Let me know in the comments if you disagree. I know this channel is for the casuals first and foremost. I've always said that. But it's good to switch it up in my opinion. Let me know though. So we're going to refuse to back up here and it's just going to go about how you'd expect. Fighting a spear 1v1 should not be this difficult. I'm kind of cringing at this gameplay looking back. I have no clue what I'm doing, but luckily we do catch him with a drag. Kind of a mess of a fight. Here I'm going to get in a 1vx, but turn my back to a spawn wave, and you'll never guess what happens next. So at this point, time is becoming of the essence. I don't know how it got this close. Sicard has been at the edge for a very long time. I was being lazy with the objective, I'll be honest, because I haven't done Darkforest in a while and I wanted it to go a little longer, but now we gotta help the team because they're having a lot of trouble on the cart. Not much of note going on. Sorry, I'm a little quiet, but a lot of kills from behind, oddly enough. So check this out right here. It's been a while since I pointed this out. You can always crouch while you're attacking with an overhead into the ground and excel it much faster. It doesn't work as well on this weapon as it does with something quick like the longsword, or even the battle axe is really good at that. The overhead to overhead feint is one of the nastiest things you could add to your repertoire in this game. It's a really great thing. It takes some practice on a controller, but once you have it down, it becomes second nature. Definitely something that you wanted to be able to do because it just works so consistently. It's one of the best feints you can mix into your arsenal. Missing your overhead and dragging it into the back of their ankles is such an effective thing you can do as well. To do this much easier, what you want to do is have your dead zone settings nearly at the minimum. Whatever you can get the lowest without having stick drift. Just check your right stick dead zone settings if you're on controller. It gives you a mouse-like precision, and it's one of the most useful things you can do because a lot of times you're going to miss that overhead and you could drag it back into their ankles to still get that hit. I have a controller guide. If you want to check that out, definitely look it up. But the Poleaxe, Community Legend, Medic Muffin, whatever you want to call them, also has a guide as well that I have in the pinned comment on that for a deeper dive. But if you want to see my settings or a breakdown of how to play on controller, I'll link that in the description for you. This teammate really wants this kill and is walking right in front of me, so I'm going to give him a whack with no regrets. Here I have a free shot in Archer, but you'll never guess what happens next. So while I was giving my rundown of the heavy mace in the very beginning of the game, this guy got the better of me pretty easily, so I'm going to respect mode him, and we're going to get into a nice duel. I'm going to leave him on the ground in case he wants to walk on the fire and save himself a death out of respect. Unfortunately, once he dies, it doesn't command. It is what it is. But now we got a beautiful 2 archer kills. Those always count as multiple kills for me. Now I'm going to get a kill on my own teammate. This always feels horrible. I'm going to apologize to him and beg him out because he doesn't forgive me, which I don't blame him for, but never a good feeling to do that. Darkforest can be frustrating because if you're on attack and roll the team the entire time, at the very end of the game, it's just so hard to get to the Duke. In that sense, it just is not balanced, I don't think. And now I really want to kill this Duke after he's out here trying to flex on everyone. Getting showboated on never feels good, so let's see if we can get this done. When the Duke was in the very front trying to show off, it really did rub me the wrong way. So I'm piling up the deaths, trying to push up here, and I'm starting to lose a little bit of faith because it's at 2 minutes and he's being defended so well, and at nearly full health, things are looking bleak right now. So I died a ton at the end. We had an insane and monster game individually, but we're not able to get it done. I do think my team was trying their best, but they couldn't break through. The Duke was just defended so well. If you guys want to check out my best longsword videos, it's all in one bingeable video on the screen now. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.